So this is my video recording on differentiated instruction. And before I get into the videos of my actual differentiated instruction, I wanted to explain a little bit what you're going to see. Basically, in the classroom that I'm in, the main way that differentiated instruction is done is through math centers within math. And that was kind of the subject area I chose to focus on. So you are going to see two clips of me filming a math center that helps differentiate instruction so that students aren't just doing worksheets and listening to me teach and things like that. They're actually doing some investigating on their own. So the first thing I want to do before those videos are actually seen is kind of show some of the background that's going to be seen while my video is taking place. Basically, there's three main areas that students will be at during centers. The first one is the photo that you're looking at right now. This was not actually taken during centers. Normally when students are back in this area, there's only 4 or 5 of them at a time because that's how big the groups are. But when they are on iPad time, they are allowed to come back to this area, which also doubles as the reading area during reading time. And they're able to sit here and they play math games on their iPads. And the information on that can be seen on my lesson plan. So this is one area that students will go when they have center time, and you'll see some of these students in the background of my videos. So this next picture that's shown is actually the table that we use for teacher-led group during centers. And obviously normally there's not all of these things on it when the students are back there, but students know that at that table, that's the portion of centers that's actually more teacher-led. For the most part, centers are student-led, so that students are kind of leading the investigations and things like that, and they're having more impact and choice in what they do. However, the teacher table is where I pull the students and we work on the core idea for the day that maybe from the lesson in the day previous, students didn't understand as well as they could have. So then at the teacher table, we try to teach it in some way that it wasn't taught the day before so students can hopefully learn and relate to it in a new way. Then this last photo shown is kind of the last area that students go during centers. And again, I show these pictures because all of these relate to the differentiated instruction core of math centers. These are the students' tables, and one of the centers is where they do hands-on manipulative work with some kind of flip book, or they create some kind of a graph, or they do something with their hands, but they're also using paper and pencil a little bit more than they do at maybe the teacher table where we use more manipulatives, or their iPads where they're just on technology. This relates it back to being paper and pencil because sometimes there are students that flourish better with that type of instruction. So again, in the videos that you're about to see, it is my teaching the students the core idea. But throughout, there's only 5 students at my table in the video. There are other students at the back of the room in the reading center, on the carpet area doing things. So those students are all doing differentiated instruction as well, just in a different format.
Oh, let's do number 1. Do the green one. Take out yours. What's this called? Ooh, what is this?
Cylinder.
Cylinder. What is this? Cube. Take them both out. Make the shape. Make the shape they make. Then circle it. Good, definitely say circle. Then look at what you need to make the purple shape. Look at what you need to make the purple shape. Which 2 do they give you? Look in this column. Which 2 do they give you? Good. Dalton made it. Abigail made it. Abigail, what's this one called? Do you remember? What's this one called, boys and girls? This is the long one.
Rectangular prism.
Very good. Declan, rectangular prism. And what's this one?
Cylinder.
Cylinder. Good. Circle the shape it made.
Yeah, we did.
Good. Declan, you have to make it and circle it. You can't just play with your shapes.
Elijah?
Okay, then look at number 3.
So you get the math. Did he get any of that math?
No, I don't think so. Come here, Elijah. This is still your page, too. Okay, look at the orange. Which 2 shapes did they use for the orange? Make sure you grab the right one. Okay, we're practicing combining shapes, okay? So which 2 do they use? So you're going to take the rectangular prism and the cone and put them together to make the shape they make. Good. Okay, look at what you did. Make sure you take the cone and the rectangular prism. Good, there you go, Declan. You can use this one for now, but Good.
Look at that. And a tower.
Good job, Elijah. Okay, I'm going to give you another sheet. We're going to do the same thing, okay? We're going to do the same thing.
What's your name?
Yep, write your name. Very good. Now this one's a little tricky. You may have to share with your partner to make the shapes they make, okay? So Elijah and Abigail, if you need to share, you share. Madison and Dalton, and then Declan, I'll share with you if we need to share, okay? So, number 4, what 2 shapes do they use in that green one? What 2 shapes do they use? They use the cube. Do they use it twice? They do, so get with your partner and make the shape they make. Okay, Declan, use mine. How do you make the shape they make? Very good. Circle it when you've made it. Oh, make sure you make it the right way. There you go. Good job. Okay, now this next one you can do on your own. Take the 2 shapes they made and make the shapes. So give me my cube back, Declan.
Okay. You need to record.
Okay, which one did you use, Elijah?
That one's easy.
Okay, circle it. And boys and girls, you can go to the bottom of the page if you want. Go up until you get to this green one and then stop. So don't do the very bottom one. So on the blue one, you're going to have to use your partner shapes. Because what do they use? 2, what's this called?
Rectangular person.
Very good, boys and girls. Good, Declan.
Yours for kids.
Yep, you can use mine to make yours. Very good. Then do the yellow. Good job, boys and girls. Oops, look at what they used on that one, Abigail.
I can do that. I'm on this one.
What did they use? The cube and the cone. If you're on the hot question, I want you to pull the 3 shapes that they took and just set them in front of you. Don't make anything with it yet. Just pull the 3 they used. Don't make anything.
That's what.
What did I tell you to do though, Declan? I said don't make anything. Okay. Now, once you have the 3 that they pulled, which they pulled what? What's this one? Cone.
Rectangular prism.
And what's this one?
Cylinder.
Cylinder. Good. Make the shape they made.
I did it last time when you told me not to do it.
Yes, but were you listening when you did it last time?
Oh, this is my favorite. It looks like a castle.
It does look like a castle. That's right. Circle it. When you have it, circle it. Okay, then flip your page over.
Yay!
Okay. I want you to grab the 2 shapes that you have that would make the ice cream cone. Grab the 2 shapes you have that would make the ice cream cone.
Ball. That makes ice cream.
Good. What's this one called?
A sphere.
A sphere. What's this one called?
Cylinder. Cone.
Cone. Okay, circle those 2 out of these 4. So out of the 4 next to it, circle those 2. Then grab the 2 shapes they used to make the birdhouse. Grab the 2 shapes they used to make the birdhouse.
The back.
Oh, I guess they did use 3. They did use 3. It's not going to look like a birdhouse, but they used a 3rd one.
The circle. Look, I made a birdhouse.
Okay, let's look. Declan has it. Yeah, did they actually use the sphere, boys and girls? They made a circle, but did they use a sphere?
Nope.
No? Now, they used, what's the yellow thing? In the picture, what's the yellow deal? What's it called? What shape is that?
Rectangular prism.
The rectangular prism. What's the green?
The cube.
The cube. What is that blue shape sticking out? What is that?
Cylinder.
What's this
Cylinder.
one called?
Cylinder.
A cylinder. Circle all 3 of those on the side. Circle all 3 of those shapes on the side.
They don't have circles.
So how many of all 3?
Because we didn't use a circle, remember, Abigail?
Yeah.
We didn't use a sphere. They did use a circle. Okay, just 3. Then look at number 11, boys and girls. There are 3 shapes in number 11 that are the same.
It's hot.
See this? 3 shapes that are the same. I want you to circle the 3 that are the same.
Okay, this is so hot.
The 3 that are the same. Let's look, boys and girls. What is this? They're cubes. Does this shape that the
Molly,
cubes make
Molly, do
look
your
like this
homework.
shape? Yes, so is that the same?
Yes.
Circle both of those. Now, is this shape the same as these? Is this shape the same as this?
Yes.
Is it
No.
the same? Not quite. Now, what about this shape?
Yes.
Is it the same as those two others we circled?
Yes.
Yes, so circle that. So circle this one. And then that one's the same too, Elijah. Okay, boys and girls, good job. Now, without using your shapes, look at this one. They took the rectangular prism and the cube. Don't do anything with them, but color the dot under the one that the shape that it would make. Good, Declan. You may go put both your sheets in your cubby and then come back and we'll play a game. Good, cubby. 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 Very good. Let's come back and we'll play a game.
Hey, wait. What's the game?
You can leave your pencils.
What's the game?
You'll find out.
I know. Oh.
When I say, are you ready? Now we might say one more than once, so be ready. Don't wait around and look for someone else. Cylinder. Cylinder. Yep, we missed that one up. Oh, hold on. Abigail, which one's the cylinder?
Come to me and
That's
say,
like the
"I'm
can.
done."
Good. Okay, put it down.
Now come to
Cube.
me and say, "I'm done."
That was easy.
Good. Put it down. Cone.
Easy.
Okay. Good. Sphere. Very good.
I dropped it. It's all down my fingers.
Now this is taking
Rectangular prism.
the longer you have to take the couch, the longer you have to walk.
Cylinder. Oh, don't look. Think about it. Put it down. Cylinder.
When you're ready to get
Ah,
I like
good.
it.
Put it down. Cone.
and however long you take to reach
It's hard to do when you're not looking.
Cube. Abigail.
Chair.
Declan.
Yes or no?
Put it down.
Yes or no?
Rectangular prism.
So when you're ready to ask the question,
Declan.
come back over to the part.
I know. Okay. Cone.
Oops.
Okay, put it down. Sphere. Sphere. Abigail, look. Okay, don't worry about the camera. You need to do yours. Okay. Cube. Okay, we're going to go faster. Are you ready? So you don't have time to look at the camera. Cylinder.
Do something new when you're done.
Abigail, you're looking at everyone else, okay? Abigail, which one's the sphere? You show me the sphere. Nope, Abigail. Which one's the sphere?
It was kind of flaky when you're going fast.
Yeah, there you go. Great. Sphere. Everybody do the sphere. Sphere, Elijah. Cylinder. Good. Okay, put your shapes, set them on your bag. You don't need to put them up. Set them on your bag. For the next
I
one.
want to be thank you. Thank you on the beach.
Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit now and kind of reflect on the lesson that I did, specifically addressing the questions that we're supposed to address with the video. The first of which, and I'll be looking down at notes a little bit, the first of which is how did I differentiate the lesson? What about it was differentiation? So basically, like I said at the beginning of the video, centers in general are differentiation because every single center focuses on the same idea in some aspect, but it's teaching it in a different way. With iPads, the students are playing games. On the carpet, a lot of times they're playing matching games, hands-on games. And then at their desks, they're doing something with paper and pencil. And then at the teacher table, the main idea that was being taught and focused on for the day was combining three-dimensional shapes to make a new shape. So for example, they would have a cylinder and a cone on the side. And then they showed two more pictures. One of them was the cylinder with the cone on top. One of them was a cube with the cone on top. And the students had to circle which one the two shapes combined made. Now, I didn't want them to have to just do that visually because I knew some students wouldn't just be able to look at the two shapes and automatically know, okay, you put those two together, it's going to make this. So instead, I had them come back to the back table, and they had, like you can see in the video, their shapes with them, and they took the shapes out, actually made the shape, and then circled it. That way they were practicing tactile, and they were also being able to visualize. And then the other thing we did at the back table in the portion that you see is we did the review game with the shapes. And this was nice because, again, it's not just me holding up a shape or me holding up a card and asking them, what shape is this? It's me saying the shape and then them holding up the shape. And as the students got more advanced with shapes, we actually would even play riddle games where I would say, I want you to hold up a shape that has all flat surfaces, or hold up a shape that has some curved and some flat surfaces. So they were having to not only know the names of the shapes at that point, then they were having to think, what are the qualities of this shape? But at the time that this lesson was done, it was more towards the beginning of the unit. So they were really just trying to learn shape names at that point. The next question was challenges within the lesson and how I handled them. One of them was the issue that I always deal with centers is because students are pulled for reading and things like that, there's always a student that misses the teacher table. And prior to this group, one of the students had to run to the nurse. Well, so he had missed the teacher's table and his center group had already moved on. Now, that being said, I can't take credit for what happened next because it was my supervising teacher's idea to have him come back to my table. But it was a good idea because it solved the problem of him having to miss the center. So I used that throughout the rest of the day, and then I've used that since then when I do centers. If a student misses the teacher table, I pull them from whatever other activity they're doing back to the teacher table. Because the other activities that they're doing are reviews from previous lessons in the unit, whereas the teacher table is really working on a core idea that students have to know. So that was something that I've continued to do since then. But that was a challenge, and that was the way that it was solved that particular day. The other issue that I ran into with this particular lesson is one that I didn't see coming. At the end of combining, two shapes to make something, sometimes three shapes, they would show pictures, and it would have something like 3 cubes and then a rectangular prism on the bottom, so it makes one big rectangle, and then 2 cubes in a prism, so it makes a cube, and 2 cubes in a prism, so it makes a cube. And the students had to select the shapes that were the same. So ideally, they were supposed to pick the 2 cubes and rectangular prisms that made cubes on the outside, and then the one that made the rectangular prism was not the matching shape. Students could not visualize that idea. This group did okay with it, but I guided them a lot on it. What I did after that with previous groups, or following groups, excuse me, not previous, we wrote the shapes on the marker board, and then we erased the inside lines so that students could see the outside shape and so that they could understand that that's what they're looking at. Then, to make up for the fact that I didn't think about that at the teacher table, following centers that day, we did a whole class review, and that lesson was reiterated, and then it was reiterated the following day. That way the students that didn't get to do that in groups because I hadn't thought of teaching it that way yet, still got the information learned that way. So the challenge was I didn't know how to teach it initially because I didn't know it was going to be a problem, but I figured it out, and then at the end I made sure that all the students knew how to do it before we moved on. And then the way that I would change future lessons, one of the ways is that I would make sure that all of the students get to come back to my table. And the other thing is I need to be more conscious of what's going on with the other students in the background, because I've noticed with my centers I get very wrapped up in the teacher table, and sometimes I'm not focusing on what's going on the carpet or at the students' desks. And I noticed in rewatching the video there were times when the head teacher in the room would have to redirect some of the students on the carpet, and I hadn't even noticed. So I've since then become more conscious of making sure all the other students are working as well, and I'm not just so focused in on my table that I forget everything around me. So that's another thing that I need to improve on and that I will work on. And then the last thing I need to do is think about those concepts like combining shapes and figuring out the outside shape that's the same that students are going to have trouble with, and I have to figure out how to teach them ahead of time. And so I guess I just need to work on thinking more outside of the box and considering issues like that, because I didn't think that that would be a problem, and then it wasn't something I could adjust until the third center. So I just need to work on kind of being ahead of the students and really thinking outside the box on aspects that they're going to struggle with.